Welcome to Xara template tutorial number 3. In this tutorial, we'll be going over the fill tool, and we'll be covering things such as the fill type, the fill tiling, the fill effect, and the fill for bitmaps. If you haven't already, go ahead and start a blank new document. Once you have your blank new document started, go ahead and select a quick shape. In this case, I'm going to select the square quick shape or the rectangle tool from the toolbar here. If you left click on that, let's go ahead and create a square or rectangle. Once you draw that, you'll notice that we have a full solid color. In your case, it may be black if you haven't changed the color since the last time you were within Xara Web Designer. But whatever color you have, it's going to be one solid filled color. After you've drawn your square, go ahead and select the fill tool from the toolbar. And that looks like a paint bucket. Left click that. You'll now have the fill tool selected. In your info bar at the top, you'll see by default that the flat fill is selected for the type. And what that means is that you'll have a solid color like this for this square. Let's go ahead and open up the color editor so that I can show you how to change the color of the flat fill for this square quick shape. Go to the bottom left hand corner of your workspace and you'll see a little icon, and when you put your cursor over it, it'll say click to edit current color, and this will open your color editor. So left click that, and then you'll get this pop-up dialog box for the color editor, and you'll see a crosshair within a various range of colors. So you'll see a long range of colors here, and you'll see a cursor. If you drag that by left clicking and dragging to the left or right, you'll notice that your quick shape changes colors, and anytime it changes, it's all one solid color when it changes. So if you want it red, you drag it all the way to the left and it'll be red. Now you might notice my red is a little bit more pale than probably what yours will be. That's because I'm in a lighter section within the other part of the color editor. You'll see a set of crosshairs down here and one up here. So there's one down here to change the color, and then there's one up here to change the darkness or the brightness of that color. So if I drag this crosshair up here to the left, I'll get a stronger red. If I drag it to the right, I'll get a lighter red that's closer to a wider value. Now if I drag that downward, it gets darker, or much darker red. If I drag it down, if I drag it up, much brighter red. And if I change this color where we have the various range of colors, if I drag it to the right, it gets to a yellow or a green. This is more so finding the color that you want and then adjusting it with the values in the top part. So now that you know how to kind of change the colors around for a quick shape, let's go ahead and change the fill type. This time we're going to change it to linear. For the linear, well, I've already had it set to repeating, so let's go ahead and go to the info bar and change the fill tiling to simple. And these options here are for your fill tiling, by the way. So make sure you have simple selected, and you'll see that it changes from white to red. Our start color is white, and you want to know how I know that? It's quite simple. Left click on that starting node. If you can't see it, I can zoom in a little bit for you, and you'll select that, and you'll notice in your color editor it identifies that you're under the color white. And you'll know that by looking at this drop down menu, because it says local start color is white, and that's the node that we selected. If we selected the end color, which is where this rectangle is at the end, you'll see that in the color editor it changed to local end color. So when you see the arrow at the end and you select that node, that's always your end color, and when you select the beginning node, it's your local start color. So when I select the local start color, the color editor will show local start color. When I select the end node, the color editor will automatically change to local N color. And when you change any of the values in the color editor, it will change, showing it up here for local N color. And if I go back and select the start color for the local start color, and I change that to, maybe I change it to a red, now you have a red that fades into a green. And you can adjust, you know, where the start color starts at. If I left click on that starting node and drag it back, we now have more balance. It's about half green, half red for the colors. Or if I wanted to drag the ending node or end color backwards, I would now have more green in proportion to red. So you can kind of play around with these and see what, you know, kind of colors you can get and mix together and create special effects. Now, if you want, let's say you wanted to add another color within this range of this linear path, you can just double click anywhere within this line arrow, double click, and then you can change that middle color. Maybe you want to make it green, or you know, maybe you want to make it a yellow, you know, maybe a bright yellow, or you could make it, you know, maybe a blue, you know, something that really stands out strong with the other colors. And you can then left click that node and drag it around wherever you'd like. Now the color editor won't show that color when you select it, even though it is a part of that path now. So anytime that you want to adjust additional colors that you add in, you're going to have to click that specific node and adjust the color to whatever you want it to be. So let's say we added another color and we want that to be maybe a black. You know, in order to change that color, you can't click the drop down menu and see it. You have to physically left click on that node and then adjust its color to whatever you like. Maybe you want it to be white, and then maybe you want to change that green to, you know, a yellow. You know, you can make it yellow, or you can make it black, whatever color you like. Now let's say you added a color by accident and you wanted to delete it. Simply left click on the node you want to delete and hit the delete key. Now there's one other thing I want to show you actually. Let's left select one of those extra nodes we created, and let's make it a different color. Doesn't matter what color it is. You want to know what color the color is without looking here physically at the object that you're drawing or modifying. There is an indicator on the right hand side of the color editor. In this case you see that there's green. That means that the node that you have selected is green. So even though you can't see it in the drop down menu here, you can see it on, let me select that back, I'm sorry, I actually have to select the node. You'll be able to see it on the right hand side here. You see that it's green, and if I change that value to blue, it'll show that it's blue there, and you'll see the blue reflected on the canvas here. So let's go ahead and select the end color. You know, you can change that again to whatever you want. I'm just kind of doing this a few times just to make sure that you understand how to change the colors. But you should now know how to understand to change the colors. And again, I'll show you one more time how to delete a color from the linear path. If you select one of the nodes, left click it, hit delete, and it'll get rid of that node. And now we have an end color of pink. If you right click on the end node, and we have a star color of red if you left click on the starting color within that linear path. Now you can also change the rotation of your linear path. Like, it doesn't have to go from left to right, it can go from top to bottom. So if you left click on that node, the first starting node, you'll see that it has a curved arrow next to my cursor. If you left click and drag downward towards the bottom, it'll now change that path to face vertically. You probably can't see that with the colors that I have selected, so let's go ahead and change the start color, maybe make it a black, and now you'll see that the path is facing upward, you know, north and south linear path. Or you could have it left to right linear path by dragging that starting node. The starting node allows you to rotate, around the square or rectangle, whichever direction you want. Maybe you want it diagonally to face for the linear path, or maybe you want it vertical, or maybe you want it right. From the right side you want it to go from black to pink, or from the left side black to pink, or up and down. Whichever way you want to twist that linear path, you can twist it by dragging the starting node within that color for that linear path. And this is your starting node, the one that I've had selected for a few minutes here. And so that's pretty much everything that you can do with the linear path in this scenario. Now let's say that you wanted to create some special effects. Go up to your info bar and select from the fill tiling section. You'll drop down the menu and hit repeating, and now it repeats those two colors. And if you click on your starred node or starred color and drag towards the center or closer towards the end arrow, you'll get more repeating tiles of those two colors. The closer you get, the finer the colors will be, the closer they will be. And the further out, the less you'll receive that repeating pattern. And then the same thing if you drag the end color inward, you'll get more repeating patterns. If you drag outward, you'll see less of the repeating pattern. So those are some ways to get some special effects if you wanted to do some creative things within your web design that makes it stand out. I know it doesn't look that fancy now, but there's some pretty interesting things you could do once you master it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the fill effect up here in your info bar, and we're going to select rainbow. And with the we're going to select not from the fill effect. We're going to go to the fill type. Go to circular, and you'll see that now we have a circle repeating pattern because we still have the fill tiling set to repeating. So now you have a circular repeating pattern. If you drag towards the center, you see more of that pattern. If you drag outward, you see less of that circular pattern repeated. So similar approach for that. And all we did was we went to the fill type and we changed it to circular. If we changed it back to linear, we would see that same regular pattern we saw before. If we change it to circular, it goes to circular. And we have repeating for the fill effect. And if we change that to simple, we would just have a simple color in the center. Black is our starting color, pink is the ending color, and you can change that to whatever you want. If you want the start color to be white, select the starting color node, change that to white, and now you've got an ending color of pink and the starting color of white. If you drag outward on that end color, you'll see more white actually, ironically. But if you press inward, you'll see more of the end color. So outward, see less of the end color. Inward, see more of the outer color, which is the pink. And again, you can twist that around the axis, but it's not going to change anything really for the outer point because it's just rotating around that center axis. But if you drag the center point to a different spot of the rectangle, now you can kind of get this spotlight effect. So dragging the star node when you have the circular fill type selected, you can drag, and also having the fill tiling set to simple, you can move that around and kind of create a lighting effect if you have a start color of white with any color you want for the end color. So you can play around with that and drag it around the square, have a little fun, and yeah, there's some interesting effects. You can make it look like the light's shining on it. The next thing we can do is we can let's go back to the fill tool again, and let's select elliptical. So select elliptical, and it's similar to the circle pattern, except you can adjust the two ending colors for the elliptical, or you can adjust the width and the height of the circle to create elliptical effect. And now you have like an ellipse that fades into pink from white. And again, you can adjust the width and height of that ellipse to fit your taste. And you can rotate it again. You have the rotation arrow, so you can rotate it at any angle that you want. And you can adjust the width or height. And you can adjust the colors too. If you wanted this end color of the ellipse to be a different color, simply go in and you change it, and it changes it to orange. Now if you want the star color to change, you go to the center point and you can adjust that to, maybe you want it to be black or you want it to be green. Now it doesn't matter what outer color that you select for the end color, it's gonna always change the whole thing. So you can select either one of these and it's gonna give you the same color value. If I want it to be white or black, doesn't matter, it's gonna keep that same color no matter what, no matter which end color node that you select. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing for you. I apologize, it's not the easiest thing to explain. But yeah, again, if you have any questions about that or about anything in this tutorial, just let me know and I'll do my best to assist you with that. Let's go to the next fill type, conical. And you'll see that with this one we have a color that rotates around the center point, the center node here that you see. I don't know if you can see that on screen, but there's a center node here, and it's basically rotating around that, and it kind of fades into a green to a red. And you can adjust the rotation of that by selecting the end arrow node, this little node here, and if you drag in a circular motion, it will twist it around, and you can kind of have that wherever you'd like. And it's basically essentially creating a cone, like light up effect, and one side of the cone is lit up. In this case, it looks like it's more so the red that's lit up, and the green is kind of the darker side, or it could be vice versa. This one's kind of hard to tell, but essentially it's trying to create a cone like effect, and one side of that cone is lit up and it kind of rotates around that cone effect. And again, you can change the star color by selecting the star node, and you can make it like a blue if you want it, and you can make the end node by selecting that where the end arrow's at. You can make that like a yellow or green or purple, whatever color you want. So that's how you deal with a conical fill type. Now for repeating, it'll just repeat it in a seamless manner around that center point. So now we have the pink repeated twice and the blue repeated twice, and you can kind of rotate it around that square. It's pretty cool to look at. It's very interesting effects that you can get using the different tool sets for the fill type. And I'm sorry if this tutorial is super long, but the fill type the fill tool is a very advanced tool. It has a lot of features. I'm just trying to cover some of the ones that are available. Let's go to the diamond next, and let's go ahead and after we set that fill type to diamond, let's go to the fill tiling and set it to simple. Now the diamond, the reason I did that is I want to show you what it looks like in its native format. It's essentially a diamond that's fading into other colors. So in this case, we're fading from a starting color of blue. If you select the center point of the axis, you'll see in the color editor it shows blue as the starting point, and if you select the outer one, it shows red as the outer selection, or whatever variant of red that we have. So it's fading out and it's a diamond shape. And now this will change depending on the rotation. If you click one of the end nodes and rotate it, you'll actually have a square rather than a diamond. So depending on what angle you have it at, you may have a diamond and you may have a square. Let's go ahead and go to the fill tiling again. If you select repeating, you'll kind of get like a either a diamond if you turn it to a diamond by selecting one of the end nodes and rotating it. And now you got a repeating diamond-like effect in your square. Or you can change it and it could be a repeating square with the two colors we created in originally, you know, the blue and the red. And if you drag towards the center using one of the outer nodes here, you get kind of a tight-knit square pattern. And you know, it gets again some interesting effects. I kind of like the way this looks. I think it could definitely be used in web design. It could definitely have practical use. So that's one of the things you can do. Let's go ahead and select the fill tool again, and let's change it to simple again, and leave that at fade. We're going to drag this back out so that it's a normal size fill type again. Go back to fill type, and we're going to go to 3 color. Now 3 color allows you to have 3 separate colors for your fill type. Let's go ahead and change one of these because you can't tell that it's a 3rd color there. So now we have green as one side, we have blue, and we have red. And make sure that you have your fill tiling set to simple in order to see those 3 colors in a simple format. So they kind of fade in, you know, 3 different colors. And again, you can adjust this by adjusting the nodes. You can bring the colors closer together. You can bring them further out by selecting one of the end nodes, outward, closer, outward, closer. Now another interesting effect with the 3 color is if you select the fill tiling and set it to repeating, you now get this hexagonic kind of, you know, looks like spotlights almost for the colors. And if you adjust the different colors, let's say I change the centered one to maybe let's make it a black. Now it looks like, you know, star formation almost if you change the center one. Depending on what colors you select for each of the nodes, you're going to get different effects. So you know, don't worry if it doesn't look exactly like what I have, but it's going to vary depending on what colors you choose. But yeah, green, red, and black seem to really give it that spotlight kind of shiny Christmas colors kind of thing. But yeah, select any of these nodes and you can change the colors. I'm pretty sure you get it by now that, you know, if you play with the colors, you're going to get different effects depending on what color you choose. But yeah, I absolutely love the 3 color effect. As you can see here, you can adjust the size of it by dragging the nodes outward or inward on one of the end nodes. You want it really close up, you can drag outward, drag inward to make it smaller, and get different types of pattern. This one looks more like a DNA almost kind of diagram. Like, yeah, about right there, it looks like almost like DNA. If you drag it outward, it looks more like a Christmas Eve kind of colors. But let's go ahead and set that back to simple and keep it back to the normal colors. And again, you know, if you drag that inward, colors get closer. Drag it outward, it gets further away. Let's go to 4 color. 4 color is the same thing. You know, you can adjust so if you have 4 colors, you can adjust by selecting any of these 4 nodes, and you can adjust the width and height by dragging outward or inward at any of these arrows that you see here. So I won't go through that one because I think you get the point now. Let's go ahead and go to bitmaps. You see when I selected bitmap, it's blank. That's because I haven't selected a bitmap to fill it. So we're going to go to one of the tool sets on the side here, or one of the dialogues on the side. We're going to go to the fill gallery, and the fill gallery has this paint bucket thing here. If you don't see that, go to your Windows your utilities option in your menu up here. Go down to galleries and make sure that you have the fill gallery selected. It should be a checkbox by it. So if that's checked, you'll see it on the right hand side over here, and you'll go to fill gallery. So if it doesn't pop up, left click on it, but when you place your cursor over the fill gallery, it should bring it out. And what you're going to do is, normally you'll see just a list of folders here, and you'll just left click on one of the folders, it'll expand it, and then you'll right click on whatever pattern you want to choose, and you can use this slider here to slide up and down to see the different patterns within that group. If you left click on the folder, it'll close it. So left click to open, and then right click on the pattern you want and apply as fill, and now it fills this square with tiling, and we have it set to single tiling by default within your info bar, and we're going to set it actually to repeat tiling. Well, I'm sorry, repeat inverted, and we'll drag it inward, and you'll notice that this pattern repeats seamlessly. You can't see any defects in it. It seamlessly repeats from all directions. So let's go ahead and select fill tool again. But if we set it to repeat tiling, well, you still can't see it. It's still kind of seamless, but sometimes you'll see defects if you don't choose repeat inverted. But in this case, you know, since it's a native file in Xara, maybe that's why it's not showing the defects that you would normally see in a repeated tile bitmap. But you could choose any of those as your fill. I could choose this one, or I could choose the brick by right click. You have to right click and hit apply as fill. I'm sorry I didn't mention that. Yeah, so just right click on any of these with your right click mouse button, and then select apply as fill. So I'm going to choose the brick. I like the brick color. And you can adjust the DPI, the resolution, and you can change that to maybe 100 if you wanted to. And you'll see it gets a little bit closer. It's not a sharp resolution. And you can adjust it more than just using this info bar. You can adjust it by actually clicking on one of the end nodes and dragging inward, and that'll get you a sharper resolution. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. You'll see that it went to 374 DPI, and you can drag outward, and if you left click anywhere within this repeating pattern, it'll show your DPI in the info bar. So we're at 126 DPI, and that's just how sharp the resolution is. The higher the resolution, the better it looks when you print it, and the better it looks on the screen too when you raise the resolution. Let's go ahead and set it to single tile within the info bar, and now we'll have a single tile. And what that means is, oh, I'm sorry, let me go ahead and set that back to single tile. That means that it's now just one single tile. It doesn't matter, you know, if you resize it, make it smaller, it's going to stay one single tile. If you change the size of the bitmap by clicking on one of the end arrows, it'll get bigger. It'll actually start to fade, because now it's considered a single tile. So it actually will lose resolution if you do that. So you may not want to do that. You may want to set it to repeating tile so that it retains the resolution. Obviously at some point it's going to distort if you get too big. But if you do repeat inverted, you know, it's going to still be the same problem. So don't make it too big or you lose resolution. Try to keep it to a decent size so it doesn't blur on you. And let's go ahead and go to Fractal Clouds. You know, Fractal Clouds is a little bit different. I'm not going to go too much into it. Just know that it creates kind of this fractal cloud kind of look, and you can get some interesting effects when you apply different layers to this. But that's for another tutorial. Let's go to Fractal Plasma. It's essentially the same thing, but it's more contrast. It's a little bit more blurry in my opinion. So depending on the kind of effect you're trying to create, you may choose the fill type as Fractal Plasma or Fractal Clouds. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that we're going to cover for now for the fill tool. There's so much more you could do with the fill tool. We would probably be here at least another hour. So I just want to give you enough information to get you started. Don't worry if you don't know how to use the Fractal Clouds or Fractal Plasmas. Just know how to use the other fill types and know how to apply some of the fill tilings in this second box here. And I apologize if I mentioned the wrong name. This is actually your fill tiling. I think I mentioned it as something else once in the tutorial. And this last box here is your fill effect, and that's going to adjust. Let me show you what the fill effect can do. Actually, let's go ahead and delete this fractal and make a new square. And well, still showing the fill fractal. Let's choose the fill tool and go to the fill type in the info bar and select it to flat fill. And then we're going to choose fill tool again. You didn't have to reselect that, I just did it because I accidentally clicked off of it. Change the fill type to linear, or not, actually change it to circular. And let's set the star color to let's make it red, or whatever color you want. Make the end color whatever you want to. Just choose a color that's noticeable. I'm gonna choose like a green. And then let's choose from the fill tiling, let's choose repeating, and you kind of get this circular pattern. If you drag that inward, I think I showed you this already, I apologize for that. I have already showed you how to do this. So yeah, you know most of the basics that you need to know how to do things with the fill tool. And if you have any questions, you can always send me a message on YouTube, and I'll do my best to help you with coloring objects with the fill tool. But for the most part, that should help you with the fill tool. Again, this tutorial covered how to use the fill tool, how to use the fill tiling, how to use the fill effect, and how to use bitmaps for fills as well. I hope this tutorial has helped you with learning how to use the fill tool. And please subscribe to our tutorials on YouTube, and you can also subscribe on our homepage at xaratemplate.com, and that will keep you up to date to any new templates that we release for the web designer software. And it will also keep you up to date on any discounts or specials and tutorials or anything else that's going on with xaratemplate.com. So please visit us and subscribe on YouTube, or subscribe to our newsletter on our website. And thanks again, and have a wonderful day.